Hello, photographers. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. So this is just going to be for people who pop in on live, and you can ask me any kind of question that you want. It could be personal, it could be photography related, it could be business related, it could be course related, shop related, anything you want. We're going to basically spend 30 minutes a week where I can help you guys, love on you guys, and try to help you get unstuck, answer some questions that you might not quite understand while you're going through the blogs and the YouTube videos and everything like that. So, welcome. So something that, like, if you are like a workout person, which like today I worked out, and it's like one of my goals this year to tuck in my shirt on New Year's Eve like a boss, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my goal this year. And so I've been working out in the mornings, doing 21 Day Fix on like the Beachbody On Demand app. And it's been awesome. And like, I feel so much better after. I just feel like an overall better mom, wife, photographer, human. But today, like halfway through my workout, I literally felt like I was just going to just pass out and die. And so I'm like, why in the world is this happening all of a sudden when like normally I'm like, let's go. If you have any workout tips, I would love to hear them, because I am struggling. Like, I used to be like super fit. I used to play sports and like work out all the time. But after starting my photography business, education business, and birthing 4 children, my body's kind of taken a toll. Did I eat breakfast? I drank coffee. Maybe that's it. But I like typically like that's all I do is like I drink coffee and I'm like good to go, and then I eat like breakfast or like drink like my protein shake after. So I'm not quite sure. Okay, there's 17 people on here. So if you have a question, now is the time to ask. I am here for it. I want to help. I want to help you, at least point you to the right resource, the right direction. So bring it on. If you have a question, I will see it in the comments. Hello, good morning, everyone. You guys, a pre-workout helps with that. Okay, I did coffee and then I did like a pre-workout drink, and I'm now like looking back, I'm wondering if that was like too much like stimulants. Okay, Christina, back button flash. Okay, are you talking about like using back button focus with flash? Back button flash. I'm not quite sure what you mean, Christina. As far as back button focus, I don't use back button focus. I don't have to. I get like 98% focus accuracy with my Nikons. With just like the half shutter thing. So, Christina, I'm going to come back to that question if you can kind of explain a little bit more. D, ISO low or higher with indoor flash? I forgot. So I do high ISO with flash no matter what. And that helps reduce the flash power intensity, so your first cycle time will be faster. Okay, raw files, how to view them easily. Photomechanic. Photomechanic is a software program. It's a one-time purchase, so it's not one of those like monthly recurring things. It's a one-time purchase. Go to camerabits.com and you're gonna get Photomechanic. I can't even remember. I bought it like 4 years ago, so I can't remember how much it is, but I want to say it was fairly inexpensive. And all you have to do is open the program and then drag and drop your raw foil folder to them, and they will all, like, if I have a wedding and I shot like 15,000 images and I pull up put that folder in a Photo Mechanic, they will all go like super quickly, and that's how I cull. That's how I go through them and pick the ones that I want, because it's super fast and it's like insane. Quick backstory on Photo Mechanic is that it was created for like ESPN photographers, like after a football game or like a Super Bowl, and they had to get the best picture for the newspapers and magazines. They could quickly upload all of their thousands of images from the 4-hour game and see which one they want and click it and then edit it and send it off as fast as they can. So that's super cool. And now wedding photographers especially can use it. And like I use it for every single portrait session, many sessions and everything. So I highly recommend Photo Mechanic. You can view them super quickly and easily. And yeah, I think the best thing is that it's quick. Okay, Michaela, I use an app called Workout Women, and it has some warm-up exercises if you want to try it before getting into your regular workout. Yeah, I typically don't have an issue. It's just like a 30-minute workout, and there's like a modifier in case I get tired. I can modify. I don't know if like my hormones are off today. I don't know if it's the pre-workout plus coffee combo. I don't know what it is. But today I felt like death. But I'm alive. I have my like Shakeology protein shake thing here, and it's definitely helping. I took a shower, and so I'm trying to like do all the things and kind of like chill for a minute. Okay, Christina, back button focus. Okay, so back button focus is basically Canon users swear by it because Canons typically have a harder time focusing and getting sharp focus. Nikon people, that's like the beauty of Nikon, is that like we nail focus instantly. It's just the difference between Canon and Nikon. Canon has better color, unless you have the Nikon 850, which has the Canon color and the Nikon focus, which is kind of like your like dream man, you know what I mean? Like it does all the things. But I don't back button focus, but there are a ton of resources that teach you exactly how to. I hate to say go YouTube it, but seriously, like there's a ton, because I did try it at the very beginning of my business because everybody swore by back button focus. And if you've been following for a while, I did a whole not a YouTube video, I did a whole live on like why I don't do back button focus, and it simply was because my thumbs are apparently weak. And when I'm trying to toggle and back button focus, it was like my thumbs literally were like on fire at the end of the session, especially on wedding day. 8 hours focusing with your thumb and toggling with your thumb, literally like this whole muscle right here was just like, I couldn't like use my thumb for like a week. So I just toggle, and I just only toggle with my thumb, and I shutter. So it's like, I shutter focus. So I do not back button focus. Okay. Nicole, how do I know which autofocus grouping to use, such as single group? Okay, so I only use and teach single point focus. And the reason for that is because that is the true manual focus that you can get when using your manual mode camera. Assuming that you are shooting in manual mode. If you are on auto setting, it will automatically figure out what you want to try to focus on, which is like scary, like your camera's in control. So I use a single point focus, meaning if I'm shooting a bride, I can move my point to her eye and get sharp focus. I can move my point to her earring if I'm doing like a creative crop and I want to focus in on her earring and everything else be soft. I can move the single point here. If you put group focus, your camera is just guessing where you want to focus on. So there's no like professionalism to it because your camera is doing the work. So yes, I only do single point focus. Michaela, when will mobile presets be coming out? Girl, that has been on my list all year. It's like one of those things that hasn't been priority. Like my priority has been, like the course info, because like to me, like my whole purpose of doing this is to like love and serve. And I feel like the best way to do that is through knowledge and education and courses. That's like when I get to see life change. And so I've been kind of focused on that. If I can get someone to put my mobile preset in my shop and like get it out into the world, I would totally like hire somebody to do it. Lauren is busy enough like doing all these other things. But yeah, it's just been like on my to-do list, and I just, it hasn't been priority. But hopefully this year, I'm going to just say hopefully this year. All right, Sarah, do you use off-camera flash? If so, do you find it useful, needed? Yes, I do use off-camera flash when I need to. I mainly shoot weddings. My portraits are all like natural light. So seniors, families, maternity, all that is through mini sessions with natural light. I don't use flash for portrait sessions, but for weddings, if I'm in a ceremony space and I feel like I need extra light, a pop of light, I will set up my umbrella stand to like the back left-hand corner of the room or the back right-hand corner of the room to mimic like that secondary light that I teach in the Photography 101 course. That secondary light, like that's what my umbrella is for, to just help me get some extra light onto the bridesmaids, groomsmen, and the front row. At receptions, I also use an off-camera flash as a hair light so that it mimics the sun. And what it does is I put it in the back left-hand corner or the back right-hand corner of the room. And what it does is it provides like this hair light on the dance floor and on like the first dances and all that stuff. And it really makes the biggest impact in those reception images because it separates the person from like the dark background, and it really does just like give that extra kick. So those are like the two reasons I use off-camera flash. But you can totally get through an entire wedding day and anything with an on-camera flash if you know what you're doing. Jackie, hello, beautiful. Currently at work, but still watching. Do you use flash when shooting in a cloudy day? Can you dumb down metering for me, please? Okay, I do not use flash at all during the day, no matter what. The way that I teach overcast is that you faced your clients toward the sun. And like if you've seen that video that has like kind of gone viral, I do my hand trick, which means I just kind of look at my hand, and when the shadows go away, that's where I want to place my clients facing, so that, because like the biggest misconception and the biggest lie in the entire world that photographers somehow started believing, or somebody told them this, is overcast days are the best days to shoot because you can shoot anywhere and you don't have to worry about the sun. That is false. You do have to worry about the sun. Like that is the biggest thing you need to look for. It is almost trickier to shoot on an overcast day because you don't know where the sun is and you have to find it. Quick trick shooting on an overcast day is face your clients toward the sun, and that's going to fill in shadows. It is an editing nightmare to try to edit the dark circles and shadows underneath the nose and underneath the eyebrows and underneath the eyes. It is muddy skin tones. It is dark brown like circles under their eyes if you face them away from the sun. Face your clients toward the sun on an overcast day will give you that bright face that your clients like are paying you for. I teach in depth in the photography course about overcast, about harsh light, about like spotty light, like all the things that you need to know, because that is literally the most important thing to master when you are a professional photographer. You got to know what you're doing with light. So no more believing that you can shoot anywhere on an overcast day, and you don't need flash at all. I never use flash if the sun is out. I only use flash at the darkest of night and inside like reception halls, and if I'm shooting inside in a dark room. Okay. Okay, can you dumb down metering for me, please? Okay, metering is basically you are telling your camera where to look to find correct exposure. There's 3 types of metering. I teach this in the Photography 101 course. I think the easiest thing that I can tell you right now quickly on a live is don't start with spot metering, because that's the hardest type of metering to master, because spot metering is whenever your camera is literally only reading the light that your focus point is on. So if my focus point is on the eye, which it always should be, because the eye is the first thing that your clients or anyone, humans, are going to look at. And if it's out of focus, the whole picture's out of focus. The eye is the most important part, unless you're doing a different type of focus on. But if I'm focusing on the eye and my little dot is on the eye, the camera is only reading the light right here. So let's just say your clients are walking towards you and they're like moving. Your meter is going to be doing like this, because it's reading the light on the eye and the cheek and the nose. Like, let's just say it's doing like this. Like, that's the hardest type of metering to use. I strongly suggest using center weighted metering to start. It's still super accurate in reading exposure, but it's a lot less wonky. Like, your meter's not going to be doing this, because it's just reading like the center of your photo and a little bit around it. So it's mainly reading this part, and not so much like the sky and the dark ground. So I strongly suggest you start with center weighted metering. And again, I dive super deep on when to use different types of metering in the Photography 101 course, but just for now, I think that's definitely a good place to start. Okay, actually, I have a Canon T7. I know it's beginner camera, but I want to get a better one. Which one do you recommend? If you're sticking with Canon, I've heard that the Canon 5D Mark III is a really good full frame camera. If you are looking to like take those better images and have more flexibility with your settings. So if you're switching to Nikon, then I would suggest the D750. It is the most affordable. It's about $1,500, and it does an amazing job. I just bought me another one because it's just awesome. Jackie, what do you think about photography names? I have a hard time deciding on how to name it, since it's me and my, why can't I see more? Me and my husband in it. Okay, so something that I learned from Mentor when I very first started is that, and it's what I teach in the business and branding course, as well as the business basics course module in the Photography 101 course. But your name is the best name for your business, because you are your brand. Your brand is you. So you're not really running a business. You're creating a brand. When people hear Brittany Bruce Photography, there's a feeling that comes with it. Like, if they're my clients, like, there's a feeling that comes with it, not necessarily like a visual thing, which is why I think it's stupid to spend a ton of time on logos, and it's stupid to spend a ton of time on watermarks. Nobody cares about your logo and watermark but you. Watermarks and logos don't make you money, and that's kind of a side point that I also kind of teach about. But what makes your brand is you, the way that you serve, the way that you love, the way that you deliver, the way that you go above and beyond for your clients. That is the most important. So when people talk about Brittany Bruce, they link it to my business, which is Brittany Bruce Photography. Let's just say you become a wedding photographer, and my business name is Southern Pecan Photography, and I walk in, I'm like, hey, I'm Brittany, nice to meet you, I'm the photographer. And so whoever's there is going to have to be like, so are you Southern Pecan Photography? Yeah, I'm Southern Pecan. Like, it's definitely wasted time and confusion, and I can't say this enough. When people are confused, it's not a good thing. And then, like, if you have a name that's not you or your name, you have to explain, like, okay, Southern Pecan Photography. I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm Southern and I really like pecans, so that's why I chose Southern Pecan Photography. Like, it's just, at the end of the day, we're all slightly insecure about our own name. I did not want to be Brittany Bruce Photography because I thought Bruce was a manly name and I wanted to be a high-end wedding photographer. My sweet mentor, Mary Morantz, told me that at the end of the day, people want you. They're going to hire you. You're going to introduce you and your name. So your business name needs to reflect that if you decide that you are going to be branded as you, which I hope you do. And if you're adding your husband, it's okay. You guys, I'm sure you've heard of someone named Caitlin James. She was another mentor that I used my very first year. And her husband works alongside of her just as much as she works in her business, but her business is still called Caitlin James. I have good friends in New Orleans who they are a husband-wife team and their business name is the Crawfords. It's their name. It's their last name. So I would definitely try to figure out how to use your name and not use something that is Southern Pecan Photography or whatever. If you have a weird last name or a weird middle name, you can easily use a stage name. You could, like there's someone in our mastermind group that has, she doesn't want to use her middle or last name. Her name is Christina. She's going to use Christina Grace Photography. She's using Grace because it's pretty, it's sweet, and it means something to her, but it still sounds like a name. People are going to assume that's her middle name. So anyways, that was kind of a long rant, but I hope that makes sense. Okay. How to master white balance in Kelvin. Ashley, you're in the Photography 101 course, so go back and watch the Kelvin lesson. It's very, 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 very simple. Basically, it's kind of like getting the right water temperature in the bathtub. If it's too hot, you want to cool it down. If it's too cold, you want to warm it up. And you do that with the Kelvin scale. Start at 5,600. That's a daylight. Like if you're using natural light daylight, you take a click. If you look at your LCD screen and it looks too warm, you cool it down to maybe 5,000 or 4,800. If you look at your LCD screen and it's too blue, you're going to want to warm it up. Just think of it like a bathtub, run of water. Feel it, look at it, and decide whether or not you want to go up or down the scale until you can see on your LCD screen that like, oh, this looks like normal skin tones. Nobody's orange, nobody's blue. Definitely go back and rewatch the Kelvin lesson in the Photography 101 course. Do you ever use lighting inside? Yes. There's an entire lesson in the Photography 101 course diving deep into lighting inside. A quick tip for you is to find the largest window and shoot next to the window. Find the brightest room. So I know in the morning time at my house, my daughter Bonnie's room is the brightest room in the house. She has the biggest window. And anytime I need to shoot or do a selfie like video for you guys, I go to her room because that's like the biggest light and the best light. I know in the afternoon, my room is the brightest in the house because of how the sun sets and reflects off the sidewalk. So I go there if I'm ever doing videos in the evening or shooting in the evening. So if you're shooting inside, find the largest window and put your clients there. Okay. What time of day is best for lighting? It depends on the kind of photography you like. So the easy answer is to say golden hour. It's the easiest kind of lighting to start with if you're a new photographer because it is softer light, and if you don't know anything about the sun, then that is definitely the best time to shoot is golden hour, which is 1 hour to 2 hours before sunset. And so it's the same kind of thing in the morning, right when the sun rises. That's also a type of golden hour. But I'm like so plugging this thing because I am so fired up with all the 16 people coming. If you know what to do with light, you can literally shoot any time of the day. Like I just posted those pictures that I shot at 2 p.m., which is almost like high noon. Naomi, my friend Naomi's family's pictures, and they are incredible. Like you cannot get that kind of light at golden hour. So it just depends on the kind of light you like in the photography you're doing. But if you're just starting out, I definitely recommend golden hour. Okay. Hey sweetie, new to this, and one of these days I may actually learn how to use my camera. Hi. Yes, I have a course for that. Literally, I made this course with my mom in mind, to basically help you take it out of the box and change your camera settings off of factory settings. I teach you how to hold your camera. I teach you what kind of lenses you need to use. Literally everything you need to know, all the way down to taking a professional picture, printing it out, and delivering it or putting it on your mantle. So yeah, okay. Devin, just hopping on. So sorry if you've answered this, but can you talk more about back button focus? I saw someone yesterday and I'm trying to view more. Okay. I had no idea what they were talking about. Okay. Back button focus is just a different way to focus. So the way that your camera is set up is that you hold the shutter halfway, it focuses, and then the rest of the way you click the picture, right? That's how I shoot. I use shutter focus. So I'm looking through my viewfinder. I want to take the picture. I'm focusing, and then I got the focus, and then I take the picture. Back button focus is there's literally a button on the back of your camera that you can also click to focus, and then the shutter is only used to click, to like take the picture. I don't use back button focus because I'm Nikon and I don't have to. Nikons are known for like being awesome at focus. So I said this earlier, you can definitely go on YouTube on a tutorial on how to back button focus. There are literally hundreds of videos on back button focus on YouTube, because I don't teach it because I don't do it, but it's just simply like a back button focus, that you back button focus and then you click the shutter to take the picture. Okay, what is the best Nikon camera for beginners that isn't going to completely break the bank? Okay, so I started with a D3100, which I don't think they make anymore. So I think they now make D3200s. It's kind of like the equivalent. I may be wrong, but I just haven't seen them anywhere in a really long time. That's what I started with a 50 millimeter 1.8 lens. And I used it until I knew I could do better. So the cool thing about starting photography is that like everybody starts by just like being a hobby. Like, I'm just going to start this and I'm going to take pictures. The moment you post that first image that looks professional, like that you know what you're doing, people are going to come flocking to you and asking you to do their pictures, their kindergarten's birthday party, their great grandmother's retirement party, their, dog's, whatever, their gender reveal, or whatever. And it just kind of like snowballs into a business. So I suggest, like if you're like, I just want this to be a hobby, whatever, you can definitely start with a crop frame camera, which Nikon has a D3200, but they also have a D7200, which is also pretty good. But my biggest tip is to not buy the kit lens that comes with it. Buy the body only. So get only the body, and then get the 50 millimeter 1.8. That's going to make the biggest impact in your images. So yeah, that's what I suggest you do. And once you're ready, move up to the D750. That's what I use, and it's amazing. Okay, Sarah, if I am close to my subject, my focus is crisp and near perfect. But if I back up, I am further away from my subject, the photo becomes not as crisp and you can't really tell where I'm focusing. What am I doing wrong? I use a 30 millimeter lens on a crop sensor. Is that why? Do I need to upgrade my body? It could be a couple things. My first instinct, so your lenses are like crucial to focusing accurately. And if you have never calibrated your lens, that might be why. So like my first instinct is to be like, okay, if it's focusing close up, but when you're far away, it's not focusing right, it might be a calibration issue, which my friend Chris Bruyette, he's in this group, I might tag him in a minute. He calibrates and cleans camera gear for a living, and he's amazing. He's located in Lafayette. You can ship your stuff to him and he can clean and calibrate it for you, and your focus issues should be helped that way. So that's kind of like my first thing that I think that's might be your issue. Another thing is if you are far away from your subject, you have to really pay attention on where your focus point is. Because, and if you know for sure your focus point is on your subject, but you're still missing focus, check your shutter speed to make sure it's high enough, above 250 of a second. Make sure your aperture is deep enough, meaning, high enough. So if you are shooting at 1.8, far away, you might miss focus. It might not be as accurate as if you would shoot at 4.0. So check those things. If you know that it's not your camera settings and it's not you, then you're going to need it cleaned and calibrated. I always suggest to get your gear cleaned and calibrated at least once a year. I go in July, I make a trip to Lafayette to see Chris and drop off all of my gear, and he does his magic and I pick him up a week later. And the focus is insane. Like, I'm like, oh my God. It's almost like when you go to the eye doctor and like, they're like, how does this look? But how does it look now? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I was blind. That's how I feel about when I get my camera lenses back after they've visited Chris. Okay. So if I'm doing shutter focus, is it possible to push the button too fast? If I don't give it a sec, I'm trying to see all of your question. Okay. I'm doing shutter focus. Is it possible to push the button too fast? If I don't give it a sec at half push focus, will it be blurry? Could that be my focus issue? Yeah, like if you aren't locking focus and then doing the shutter, if you're just like, your camera has to focus first, then take the picture. So if you're going too fast, it might not be locking focus. There is a camera setting that I teach in the Photography 101 course under the camera settings module that you can do focus priority, which means your camera won't click shutter. It won't take the picture unless it's focused. So definitely go back to that module under camera settings and find that in your camera. Okay, what do you do when you've done your 5 free sessions but still have problems getting people to book you for a session? You keep posting. You keep telling people that you're shooting. Like, just because you've done the work behind the scenes doesn't mean that people know what you're doing or that you're even a photographer or that you're even looking to book. You have to tell people, now booking. Look at this free session. Look, I'm now doing many. Like, you have to tell people over and over and over and over again. It takes 7 days for somebody to see one post. 7 times. 7 times for somebody to see one, because you're competing with life. You're competing with basketball practice. You're competing with piano lessons. You're competing with carpool drop off. You're competing with homework. You're competing with cooking. People are busy. And so it's not necessarily that people don't want to book you. It's just that they're busy and it also depends a lot on the time of year. Like fall and spring, people want to update their pictures. And so that's whenever people are like, I need to find a photographer to do this. But if you obviously we all do want to shoot year round, you have to market yourself every single day and tell people every single day what you're doing. And if you're not booked, book yourself. Like, this is something that I did at the very beginning. If I wasn't shooting on a Saturday, I found somebody to let me shoot them, because every single shoot is not only practice, it is marketing. You can bring your boyfriend, your husband, your mom, whoever, to come and take behind the scene pictures of you doing what you're doing. Like, I cannot stress enough how much importance it is for you to market what you're doing. And what marketing is, it's not a scary word. You're just telling people what you're doing. You're showing up. You're posting over and over and over and over and over again until people are like, okay, this girl's good. Like, look at her work. Y'all, if you are not following Dee Womack by now, you need to. She picked up her camera in December. She picked up her camera in December, just like 2 months ago. And you've got to see the kind of stuff she's creating and the marketing that she's doing. Like, she is killing it because she's just showing up and doing the work. If you're not already following Marissa Rubley, you need to, because she shows up every single day marketing herself and her business. You guys, they literally, I think Marissa started in August with the mini session course. That's like, what, 6 months ago? Y'all, she's killing it. Y'all have to go check out these women and be inspired by them, because if they can do it, be having full-time jobs, and Dee has 2 kids, y'all, and Marissa's planning a wedding. If they can do it, so can you. Okay, I got a little bit too long there. What is another great starter lens other than the 50mm 1.8? A starter lens? Okay, so the 50mm 1.8 is definitely a great starter lens. I still use it. That's what Naomi's Pictures, I literally only brought one lens, and that was the only lens I brought. It's like the lens that I use about 80% of a wedding day. It's a great starter lens, but it's also a great professional lens. My next lens purchase would totally be about what kind of photography you shoot. If you shoot indoors, births, like indoor lifestyle sessions where you have very tight space, I think your next lens should be the 35mm. If you're shooting seniors, portraits outside, bridals, headshots, like portraits that you have room to back up, couples, anniversary sessions, engagement sessions, the 85mm, y'all, the 85mm will change your life. It is so freaking pretty, but you can't use your 85 inside because it's a long lens, which means you have to be pretty far back from your subject to get them fully in the frame. So I think if you have the 50 and you're like, I want another lens, number one, ask yourself, do you need another lens? Like, do you need it, or do you need to learn more about light and more about editing and more about, like, what's most important? I strongly suggest, if you're just trying to figure it out, you need to invest in courses before you invest in gear, because you can have the best gear. You can have every single lens that Nikon creates, but if you don't know what to do with people, with light, with settings, with composition, with editing, with post-processing, it doesn't matter. You could, I could shoot an entire wedding with my iPhone and have beautiful images knowing what to do with composition and light and editing. So my tip for you is to invest into education first, and until you feel like you need another lens, that's whenever you purchase another lens. So if you find yourself like, I can't scoot back far enough because I'm doing all these indoor sessions, get that 35mm, okay? All right, that's my tip. All right, Brittany, I have the 5600. Would you say that is just as great as the 7200? I don't know, because I haven't played with both of them much. I do know the 7200 is more user-friendly, meaning they have more buttons and things like on the back of the camera. Here's the thing, when you're buying cameras, y'all listen up. When you're purchasing cameras, the more money you spend means it's going to be easier to use, meaning there's going to be more accessible buttons on your camera, and you won't have to go find it in menu settings. So if you're not a techie, I suggest you spending a couple extra $100 on the more expensive camera, if that makes sense, because they're all typically going to produce the same type of image. It's whether or not you want the conveniency of that more expensive camera. Okay, thoughts about H.E. Rose Photography. I already launched my business with this name. I chose it because my name is Haley Rose Everhart, and because of Jesus Rising Again. And am I better to change it to Haley Rose Photography? That way it has more of my name in it. I think your name is beautiful. Haley Rose or Haley Everhart, like, is that your married name? Because if you're like not married and you're like, I'm gonna change my last name one day, then definitely use your middle name. Haley Rose is gorgeous. Haley Everhart is gorgeous. I think that's always better than using H.E. Because, again, it's kind of a mouthful and it's just not your name. H.E. is not your name. Haley is your name. And so I think Haley would be beautiful. Okay. All right. Back button focus, recommended or not. I've watched so many YouTube videos and still don't quite understand how to use it. Okay. Back button focus. This is the third time we're talking about back button focus. It's fine. Okay. Back button focus. If you are a Canon user and you have not been able to nail your focus, you might want to look into back button focus. All it is you're focusing with a button on the back of your camera that you have to set in settings, and you're taking the picture with the shutter. Okay? The difference between back button focus and shutter focus is that what I do is I half shutter, which that focuses the image, and then I continue the rest of the shutter, and that takes the picture. I do not teach back button focus, so I can't send you a resource, but that's the biggest difference. And if you're struggling as definitely a Canon user, if that's something you struggle with, definitely check it out, because I've heard Canon people say over and over and over again that back button focus helped them so much with focus. Okay, I just signed up for your one-on-one course. I got the Nikon camera and 50mm 1.8 lens for Christmas. Yay! Already wanting to do spring mini for my friends' kids. Yay! That is so exciting. Literally, the next step after you do the one-on-one course is the mini session course. Literally will change your life. One of the mini session course students, Marissa, went from shooting nothing to being completely booked in fall. Katie Stevens, who I'm sure you guys know that name by now because she's in here all the time. She went from averaging about 6 sessions for minis, and after the course, she got 50 plus sessions during this last fall, and people were still asking her to open up more dates. I have so many reasons why you need to do the mini session course and mini sessions in general. Mini sessions will literally blow up your business. Okay, almost done. Megan, what is the best lens for weddings? I had my first inquiry for a December wedding, but I'm worried I don't have the proper equipment. The triple threat. I use these 3 lenses for weddings. The 35mm 1.4 for wide angles, the 50mm 1.8 for portraits, for ceremonies, and the 85mm 1.4 for portraits and ceremonies. So I use the 35, it's a wide angle, for indoor stuff, for receptions, and for wide angle ceremony shots. The 50 for the ceremony, for getting ready, for bridesmaids, for groomsmen, for pretty much the whole day. And then the 85, do y'all hear that crow up in my backyard? Okay. Rude. Okay, I use the 85 for portraits, and if there's only 3 or 4 bridesmaids, I use it for bridesmaids too. Okay. Deborah, I'm using Bluebird Birth Photography as my business name. Should I change it to my name? My name is unusual and hard to remember. Deborah Johnson Suriani. Okay. I will always say your name is the best, because again, you are your brand. People will remember your name over anything else. Sometimes names can get confusing. If you're using Bluebird, people are gonna be like, what's Bluebird? And then it's a whole conversation, and then it's just a thing. But do what you feel is best. I feel like you could definitely use Deborah Johnston Photography. I don't think Suriani is weird, or so down in the South we have a lot of French names and people can't say them, and so but I don't think your name is that difficult. But definitely think about it, pray about it. I think your name's pretty, and if you have a middle name, you could use that, or again, you could use a stage name like Grace or Rose or something like that. Okay, Jackie, we're debating on Jackie and Lando's photography or Arellano's photography, which is an unusual last name. It's not unusual. I think Jackie and Lando's photography, I think that was pretty, or you could just take out and do Jackie Lando's photography. This is your brand, your business. You can definitely play around with it. And as far as naming your business, make sure you check and make sure that it has the domain is available. That's something that you also need to think about. So, which means you can go to GoDaddy.com or trying to think of another like domain website, but go to GoDaddy.com and type in your business name that you want or that you have and see if they have that URL available for you. That's also kind of important. Okay, guys, it is past my work time, so I'm going to hop off. I hope y'all got some little tidbits during this live. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you just tuned in, this will be available for you to watch in the group, so you can just rewatch it and take all the notes. The Photography 101 course, the 30% off code did expire. It was available all month, and then I gave you an extension yesterday. And so yay to everybody who got in with 30% off. But guess what? It's still available. It's still in the shop. You can literally still sign up for today. There's still payment plan options. You can get 3 or 6 month payment plan options and that I know like that helps out a lot. But you guys, I can't stress enough like how many questions will be answered just for you taking this course. Like I've condensed years into hours for you to skip the pain, to skip the questions, to skip past all of the like frustrations. It's all in the course. Literally, it's all in there. And if it's not, I answer your questions like in the private Facebook group. So it's kind of like this, but all the time. So definitely think about it, pray about it. Like, I can't stress how important it is that you need this course. It is life-changing. And I don't say that just about anything. It is life-changing. Just ask any of the course students that have completed the course and have seen difference in their work. They wouldn't have gotten this as quickly. Maybe in a couple years after they YouTubed and Googled their heart out for hours and hours and months and days and years at a time. Or you can take the course in one weekend and in just a couple of hours and start producing your dream work immediately. So I love you guys, and I have a ton of work to do today, so I'm going to go ahead and pop off of here. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon.